From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2005, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, April 6, 2016. The horrific terrorist bombings in Brussels, Belgium hit very close to home for one radio amateur.
Long-time contester in the Expeditioner, Olivier, ON4EI, has faced a number of challenges during his more than 20 years on the air. But perhaps the greatest challenge in the Belgian ham's life came during his moments off the air in Ireland on Tuesday the 22nd of March. On that day, his wife phoned him in Ireland from the family's home in Brussels to say that she and the couple's 8-year-old twins had been just a short distance away from the deadly bombs detonated a short time earlier at the Brussels airport. The family ran to safety just in time as the second blast went off. Olivier's wife and daughters were not injured, but he left Ireland for Brussels the next day to bring his family back to Ireland with him on Friday the 25th for the Easter holiday. Olivier then announced on his QRZ page that he would still proceed with his plans to operate as EI1A during the WPX contest that weekend, the 26th and 27th of March, writing that his decision, quote, represents the resistance and a beacon signal of liberty in memory of Brussels bombing victims on the 22nd of March 2016, end of quote. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jeremy Boot, G4NJH in Nottingham, in the UK.
The sudden death of comedian and actor Gary Shandling was a shock to fans everywhere, but it also rocked the amateur radio world.
The news of the sudden passing of actor and comedian Gary Shandling had a special significance to one person in the ham radio community, Alan Davis, K2WS.
It started back in the fall of '65. I just bumped into him. It was just serendipity, and we got to be friends. I talked to him almost weekly.
Shandling's callback then?
WA7BKG.
That's right. Gary Shandling was a ham radio operator who had regular QSOs with Davis over 40 years ago. They developed a long-distance ham radio friendship. Davis said Shandling was a jokester right from the start.
Gary had his dad print up this award called DIPPLE, D-I-P-P-L-E, dated February 1966, for his outstanding display of ignorance beyond the capability of any other radio amateur for causing undue interference on the amateur radio spectrum. Keep up the bad work. And on the lower left, Gary Shandling, his signature, Chief of DIPPLE Registration.
4 years later, Davis again paid Shandling a visit.
And at that time, he told me, I'm doing gigs in Las Vegas as a stand-up comedian. I remember thinking, gee, I don't get it. He doesn't, it didn't fit at the time. I didn't get it.
But Shandling did go on to a successful career as comedian, actor, and writer, winning 5 Emmy Awards.
He could joke around and all of that, but on the inside, he was a great guy. I'm getting a little emotional, so I'm sorry.
That's Alan Davis, K2WS, recalling his old ham radio friend Gary Shandling, WA7BKG, and later KQ7KA, who passed away after suffering an apparent heart attack on March 24th. Shandling was 66. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Kent Peterson, KC0DGY.
And finally, a reminder that the nominating period for the Bill Pasternak Young Ham of the Year Award is now open. We confer this annual honor on the best of the best, a young licensed radio amateur who's used ham radio for public service, benefiting his or her community, or who has impacted technological development affecting communications in some way. For details on nomination requirements and to download an application form, visit our website, www.arnewsline.org, and click on the tab for YHOTY. Completed forms and supporting documentation should be sent to the Young Ham of the Year Award, in care of Amateur Radio Newsline, Inc., Editorial Office, Post Office Box 451, Huntington Station, New York, 11746. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for over 37 years and counting at www.arnewsline.org. With Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, Kent Peterson, KC0DGY, Alan Davis, K2WS, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team worldwide. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 73. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation.